Before 2021, the last time an Englishman scored a double century in India was way back in 1985. In fact, two of them got it. It was Graham Fowler and Mike Gatting. And now Joe Root has emulated them, scoring 218 in the first test match at Chennai and powering England to a big, big victory by 227 runs. It is their biggest victory by runs in a test match in India. And it gives me great pleasure to say that Mike Gatting joins us all the way from London. And yes, he had scored a double century also in Chennai. Another interesting fact is that England have won 4 test matches in Chennai alone. Now, what's special about Chennai? What is it about the city that gets the best out of them? I've also got Sachin Bajaj of the Global Cricket School. And remember, this video is powered to you by the Global Cricket School. But I will start with Mike. Bring back those memories of 1984, doesn't it?
Oh, it was a fantastic test match. I mean, if ever there was a test match where you sort of you sit down and you say, well, this is how we'd like to win a test match, it seemed to work out because, as I say, in Chennai, I think we mentioned before that there sometimes is a bit of help for the seamers. But this pitch that they've just played on is certainly a little bit different to the one I think we played on in '84. There's a bit of grass in it, and we managed to bowl India out, and then it was our turn. And we said at the team meeting, we had to bat for 2 days. And I have to say they were the hottest 2 days I think I've ever batted in. It was sort of 90 degrees and 90% humidity, and we were having drinks sort of every half hour. The over rate wasn't great. But it was just an amazing experience, just batting out there with Graham Fowler, who certainly after day 2, when it got to sort of close of play, he was looking very, very tired indeed. And it was just an amazing experience for me myself. And I know actually Dean Jones is another one who got some runs in a test match in Madras, and he was being sick and all sorts of things, but that was probably something to do with something else that we might have encountered in 1993. But no, it was just a fantastic experience. You learned a bit about yourself. You learned a bit about how you do bat when you're soaking wet and your gloves are sticky. You've been out there for sort of 4 hours already, and you've got another 2 to go. So it was a wonderful experience. I'm not sure there were too many boundaries hit, lots of ones taken, I know, jogging up and down the wicket. But it was a fantastic experience. I believe actually in the second India's second innings when they were trying to sort of save the game, Azharuddin got another 100. I remember actually talking to David Gower. We were talking about whether we should take the new ball or not. And Percy Pocock was bowling, and he said, "No, let's give him a couple of overs." I said, "Oh, let's take the new ball because a bit more bounce or whatever." And he didn't. And actually, the very next over, he actually got Azhar called out, sending it off. Actually, so it was those sort of things happening in a test match. But it was a strange feeling because also it was the first time I think an English pair of batsmen had scored 200 in the same innings of a test match. I mean, you think of all the great players that had gone before us, and you just wondered why it hadn't happened before. But it was nice that Fowler and Gatting were the first to do it. But it's been done, I think, a number of times since. But there we are.
But how much did Joe Root's effort remind you of that? Because England did bat for 2 days here. And what is Joe Root doing differently right now? Because there were a lot of people complaining earlier he's not converting his starts. Now he's not only converting his starts, he's getting big scores. He's getting those daddy hundreds.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has been working on his game. As simple as that. I mean, there's no other way of doing it. You talk about, why was Sachin Tendulkar so good? Why is Virat Kohli so good? They practice hard, whether it be their fitness, whether it be their technique. They're always looking to improve themselves all the time. And Joe obviously started off extremely well in Sri Lanka, and that gave him a great platform. He's obviously worked with somebody about how he's going to play. And he tends to play off the back foot quite a lot. And obviously on this pitch in Madras, in Chennai, he actually was able to do that quite comfortably because it was quite slow to start with and didn't really get any quicker. But, he was there, he was ready, he finds a way, he watches the ball. If you see the way he plays the ball, he plays he lets the ball come to him. He gets it right. He's not sort of out at the ball, and he let the ball come. And when he's playing with a back foot, he can always do that anyway. He lets it come right into his body, and he plays it very late. And I think he's got a really good method now. He sweeps so well, and I think that's also a very important shot for him because when the ball is in a difficult area to defend, a bit like Virat Kohli got that one from Dominic Vess in the first innings that really spat out. He might have been actually slog sweeping that one, or certainly might have been looking to sweep it possibly. But it's one of those things. Again, I think he's worked at where the lines are, where he can play, where he might feel he might be in a bit of trouble, and he's got that very, very good sweep, and he hits it down as well. And he hits it down, rolls the wrist, gets from above. He doesn't too often hit it up in the air. When he's slog sweeping, he does. But I think that and the way he moves his feet so well, he'll occasionally chassis down the wicket as well. But I think he's in a good place, and he knows the disappointments. To be fair, I mean, batsmen do know when you think you should be doing better. And again, I think that part of his game is obviously very strong at the moment. And as I say, watching him play again, it was just a magnificent knock where he just knew he had to bat, and he kept batting, and he didn't take any risks, and he was just in superb form. And that was the difference. Winning the toss was also a very, very big point. But for Joe, it's great to see somebody play that well, especially in India against some good spinners, albeit that maybe Ravi might have been slightly rusty, having not bowled for a little while. But having bowled silly half of the 99 overs that the spinners bowled between them in the first innings, he certainly bowled a lot better in the second and got his rewards for it.
Right. And Sachin, I'll come to you now. Remember a few weeks ago when India was bowled out for 36, we again had this show, and now India have lost a test match at home. What do you see India doing in order to bounce back? A short turnaround time between the two test matches.
See, as I mentioned in my previous show, the game time was that we had on Indian pitches as compared to what England had. It's not an excuse. England have been in Sri Lanka, played on similar pitches. They adapted to the Chennai conditions far better than we did, and that was the difference. They have the world's best opening bowler in Jimmy Anderson, two young spinners who had experience on the subcontinent. Bess has been practicing at Parsi Gym. You've been there when you watched him bowl for 4 hours, working with Rangana Herath, working on Indian sub conditions. So they've come in prepared for the series. And I mean, people like Mo Bobat and Ashley Giles, they put together a good build-up and prep plan for which is the England Lions, the practice, sending individual players out. And I think they played better as a team, and they came through. Yeah, I think India will come back strongly in this series. Kohli's form is looking ominous. I reckon he's due a big one. He was batting superbly in that second innings. I think there's everything to play for. But good on England. They've won a test match, comprehensively beaten us on home soil, and it's a great start and makes the series all the more interesting.
Absolutely. And Mike, I've got to ask you this. James Anderson, people talk about he needs the clouds, he needs the air, he needs the wickets of England. And here he is on a subcontinental pitch producing those beauties on day 5. Jack Leach bounces back after being hit all over the park in the first innings by Rishabh Pant. Shows a lot of character from the England bowlers. What do you make of that?
Well, look, I mean, Jimmy is just absolutely superb. I mean, he looks fit. He looks hungry still. And I have to say, people who say that he needs overcast conditions should really just have a look at the history books. I mean, he's worked at his skills. I can't speak highly enough of him because he's worked at bowling. He got hammered once in Australia quite badly one series, and he went away and worked at what he had to do. And when he went back there the next time, he bowled a hugely consistent line and length, and he learnt to reverse swing it. And he's done the same here in these conditions. He's learnt to reverse swing it, but the consistency that is there and you look at that 1 over where he got those wickets. You could have almost put the ball on a sixpence. The 3 that he got in there, the LBW that wasn't given out, and then obviously the 2 that did hit the stumps and came back very nicely. And he has done it supremely well. And if there's ever anybody that says he hasn't deserved it for all the hard work again he put in, and as I say, he is just a complete bowler anywhere in the world now. And I should be very interested to see if they rest him for this second Test match or whether they continue with him, because that's going to be a very interesting sort of conundrum that the England selectors have got. A nice one to have, but we're playing at the same place again, and I'll be very interested to see what the pitch is like again, whether it's the same pitch or not, because if it is the same pitch, then winning the toss is obviously important. Then you've still got to get the runs. But as I say, the other person actually who I do like in these conditions as well is actually Ben Stokes, and he hasn't done much bowling at the moment, but he's another one that can reverse swing it quite nicely. We saw him in a very short spell. He did get 1 or 2, but he did get Kohli out in the end. And I know it did keep low. It hit that patch in the pitch that where it just went underground, and Virat was very unlucky with that. But that's a thing on a 5th day of a Test match on a pitch like that. So I'll be interested to see whether they leave a bit more grass on it actually, and then back their spinners. It was interesting to see Dominic Best struggling to pitch the ball actually in the second innings, which is a bit like Jack Leach in the first. So it was sort of a role reversal. But hopefully now they've both done a lot of bowling, and they'll both have taken a bit of confidence from that, and they will be better for it. And I think likewise we saw some very good bowling from Ravi Ashwin, as you'd expect. It was very nice to see Ishant Sharma get his 300 Test wicket as well, because he's also done a lot of hard work, and he was hugely more consistent than I've seen him over the years, and he looks stronger as well. So he did a very, very good job. Bowled well, certainly in the first innings without a lot of luck, but he got it in the right areas, and it was nice to see him get his 300 Test wicket, a nice milestone for him.
Looking at India, there was a lot of talk about the selection of Shahbaz Nadeem, who's actually had a very good domestic record, played 1 Test match in 2019, was a reserve bowler brought into the side after an injury to Akshar Patel.
I thought Nadeem bowled quite tidily, to be fair. I thought he kept it tight. He bowled it in the right areas. And maybe had he bowled in the 4th innings as opposed to the sort of 1st and 3rd, he might well have done a little better. But I didn't think he bowled that badly, to be perfectly honest. I thought he was quite tidy. The trouble with the pitch was, for the spinners, if you didn't quite get it right, there was just that little bit of bounce like there always is at Madras, even though it's slow, but it does sit up and it's slow, and it gives batsmen time to get back. And we saw all the spinners, including Ravi, which is unusual, get cut a lot and get hit off the back foot a lot of the time. Mr. Pant didn't give our spinners a chance to pitch it a lot of the time. He was right up there and giving it a belt down the wicket. But I just think that the wicket was a difficult wicket sometimes for the spinners to bowl on, but you had to be patient. And I actually thought Nadeem got it in the right places more often than not.
That's interesting. And Sachin, let me bring you in on this. What's the change you would make if India are to make a change? Would you bring in Kuldeep? And India have Rahul Chahar in the young leg spinner.
I think we just got to go out there and play. It's about we've had a Test match in. I think if they think of a leg spinning option, I'm sure they'd be on the line to Rahul Dravid to inquire about the young fella. And we gave Sivaramakrishnan a go when he was 16. He went on the tour of West Indies. I think he might have played 1 Test on that series when he went in '83 on that Kapil Dev-led series. I think if leg spin is the way, they've got to get somebody in here.
It's interesting now talking about England, because Mike Ben Foakes is set to don the gloves for England. A very good cricketer, I feel, because I saw him getting that 100 in Sri Lanka. And for someone to do that on debut in subcontinental conditions, not easy. He showed he has the temperament. How do you see that affecting England's balance, or you think it's just going to be the same?
Well, losing somebody like Butler, who can be play a magnificent knock at any stage. He is somebody who has a huge amount of respect in the England team, and he quite rightly so. He is hugely talented. He can turn a game a bit like Nishad did in certainly in India's first innings. But Mr. Folkes is a very talented cricketer too. His keeping is exceptional, and as I say, he plays spin well. So he won't be sort of out of sorts, I don't think. Maybe, as I say, the only thing he might be a bit rusty, sort of practice-wise, pitch-wise, fitness-wise. They're all fit, but doing it in a match, for 6 hours is different to just practicing. So it'll be interesting to see how he is, but he will have to stand up a lot without a shadow of a doubt, unless again the wicket does change and they leave a bit of grass on, maybe. But no, I think if you leave someone like Buttler out of a team who is such a talented player, it will make the team slightly weaker, possibly. Ben Folkes can come in and get 100 for you. He's shown he can do that, and he plays well. So there's, you would have to say that sending Buttler home is going to weaken the England team, because as good a player as Folkes is, he hasn't quite got the aura or certainly the talent that Joss has got. And in time he might well be the keeper batsman that someone like an Alan Knott was. Maybe, I don't know whether he'd be as good as that. Who knows? But we've had a lot of very good wicketkeeper batsmen over the years, and they've made their sort of mark on the game, and so there's no reason why Ben can't.
Exactly. And just taking a cue forward on 84-85, you won the test match in Delhi, but you kept the momentum. What would you suggest to Joe Root and the team so that they keep the momentum going and put India under pressure and get the job done? Now, moving ahead into the second test.
Look, there's a formula that's out there. The fact is, you've got to get some runs on the board. If you can win the toss, bat first in India, and get some runs on the board, I say one of the things that was very important, I think, to me, was the fielding. It's a bit like, you go to anywhere these days, you've got to field well and catch well. And we had a little bit of luck as well, poor old Pujara whacking short leg and it bouncing to mid-wicket. So, but that happens when you're playing well as a team. You get a bit of luck going that way. Stokes' magnificent catch. And then even the one that Anderson took off of Gill, who looks a very, very good player. But, that's a fantastic catch for a fast bowler to take, diving in at mid-on. And then Root just diving out and putting a hand out to a full bunger. So all those things show me that England are doing the right things. They're trying to make that 1% difference. The fielding's important, the catch, especially on wickets, when, if somebody does get in, partnerships build. But then you see all the time in India, if you lose a wicket and then you can easily lose another one. And then you might lose 3. And that's how it sort of happens. But then on the other hand, you could be out in the field for 2 sessions and not get a wicket because people have got in. So it's so important. So for me, I think they know the formula. I think they understand what they've got to do. I mean, Sibley's knocking the first innings, and we've got an opening partnership. They started well, a 50 or 60. And Burns got out, but Sibley carried on, and that last knock in Sri Lanka has stood him in good stead here. He played the spinners a little bit better. Wasn't quite turning as much as it was in Sri Lanka, but he knows what he's got to do, and he's going to do a job a bit like Pujara, I suspect, for England. He's just going to try and bat all the time. Stokes, we've talked about. Root, we've talked about. Not much more you can say about a guy who's in fantastic form as a brilliant player. Stokes, he got 82, having not sort of played very much cricket. So again, what's going to happen to him? He might well do. So look, there's lots of good players on both sides. Rahane hasn't got to run this match, but he's due for a few. Virat's looking in good form. Gill looks a good player. It really is. Sharma hasn't got a run yet. So look, there's so much talent in both these sides, and there's match winners in both these sides. And I think we're going to see, as I said before, it's going to be a very tight series. This next match, I think, is going to be very important. because I think it will, as Sachin said, the bounce back ability of what sort of pitch you're going to play on. England are very, very, in very, very good order, very confident. But we know the Indians have got a lot of fight in them, and we've seen that now. And they've got people like Bumrah who can change a match quite quickly. Ishant Sharma's bowling well, Ravi Ashwin. Again, as I say, you are looking at two of the best teams in world cricket, who are very confident, who are very well led. And I just really can't wait for the next Test match to start, because it was a fantastic start for England, certainly, but certainly we know that India will be coming back very hard, and England just got to get their mindset right, get some runs in the first innings, and take responsibility in all departments where they are, whether it be fielding, batting, bowling. You've got a great leader in the bowling attack of Jimmy Anderson, so it's gonna need a good performance by India to drag one back, I think. But as I said, I was always looking for a draw in this series, because I think the two sides are very, very equally matched, and we'll see.
Sachin, one important detail moving into the next test: the crowd is finally coming back in some measure, 50%. Media is coming back into the stadium. Definitely good news. What do you make of it as a cricket lover?
I think it's about time that things have got better. And Test cricket or any cricket without crowd, it's different. It's the same like English football. Some teams just don't play well because they don't have their home support. I think it would help India if there was some crowd in the stadium. But I think I put our performance to one bad match, and I'm quite sure we'll be back. Only this England team is in really good nick, and Ben Foakes might not be a destructive batsman like Butler, but he's been coached by the legendary Graham Gooch at Essex over the years. He'll occupy the crease and he'll make it difficult. Yeah, he's not going to give his wicket cheaply. He'll be a miser here, as far as losing his wicket. He'll bat for long periods. I think the England have a very good coaching staff. We've got John Lewis, their bowling coach, who's very good, who's played a lot of county cricket, played for England, and he's been with the England under-19 setup before he's come in, and Thorpe's been with the Lions and England coming and going. These guys have been there, done it, and they're very tactical coaches. They're not. I'd say they're more tactical coaches. They are technical than they are technical coaches. And in Test cricket, you need tactical coaches. They're very good, and I'm sure they'll have them. They'll have them ready, and I can see India bouncing back. It's a great series ahead. Again, what kind of pitch comes up with? They come up with in the next test is anybody's guess, but I think it's a great series. England have got off to a flyer. We've got some catching up to do, and we're looking forward to another great test match.
And finally, the important question: Mike and Sachin both on a spot. What will be your call for this test match?
I certainly think there will be another result, because thinking about the pitch, we're playing on the same ground. The groundsman might have had time to leave too much. He might have to leave a bit more grass on. I don't know, just because it might be slightly drier. But with the weather in India, you can give it a quick sprinkle, and it shouldn't be too bad. So I think India could go one or two ways. They could either just say leave it dry and let's have take our chances, or they could say okay, let's try and just play on a good pitch and take our chances because we have got some really good bowlers who can bowl on any pitch. Both sides have. So I think that the spin department, I think obviously is still held by India with their bowlers, the quality of their spin bowlers against the England ones at the moment. So I think again it'll be a tight test match, and I think there'll be some more runs scored, and I think the pitch might be slightly better than the one they've just played on.
Sachin?
I reckon India will come back. India will come back in this one. Shastri's always got a trick or two up his sleeve. I'd back India. I'd back India at my usual 51-49.
Does that mean they're going to change the ball and use a Duke ball instead of an SG?
There would be personnel change. Maybe Shardul Thakur might come in instead of somebody, because on this kind of a pitch, he bowls very good off cutters and leg cutters also, moves the ball, reverses it a bit, shores up the batting. The combination that we go with will be interesting here. I think they'll have something up their sleeve. Let's see. That's the mystery of Test cricket. You never know what's going to happen next year.
Yes, and that's right. But I've got a very important question that I have to ask both of you. How did your football teams fare over the weekend?
Well, Liverpool were very boring. They got hammered at home 4-1 by Man City. My team actually beat one of the teams down the bottom, but our test is coming this weekend. Well, actually, tonight we've got a game against Everton in the fifth round of the FA Cup. But on Saturday, we too play Manchester City, although we have beaten them at home 2-0 already this season. So at the moment, we've got Kane back. So I'm hoping that we have a good night tonight and that we play well, even if we don't beat City. But Liverpool got hammered 4-1 by City. So Sachin's probably not so happy.
Sachin, we lost to the better team on the day. We had a couple of goalkeeping errors, but no excuse. City deserved to win, and City are the form team. It's their title to lose right now. Liverpool got some catching up to do, injuries and all sorts, but I think more than that, regaining their confidence is going to be one of their priorities. But right now, we are chasing the game. City are way ahead of everybody right now. Not happy about it, but I guess that's life.
Yes, thank you so much, gentlemen. Again, always a pleasure to have you on Niche Sports. And yes, everyone, please do subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for all the notifications. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thank you so much, everyone.